Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've got some breaking news out of Mason, Ohio, where minutes ago, Kings Island has officially announced their new for 2020 roller coaster. And yes, as everyone has suspected, it is the Giga coaster. The Giga coaster that we've been talking about since last year at this time has finally been announced, and we have a name for it, and that name is Orion. Now, if you recall, this is one of the two names that was trademarked, months ago. Danny and I talked about this. Orion was the name we liked better of the two between Orion and Polaris, and that is officially the name here. So we've seen the POV from the live announcement party. Jeff, what are some of your initial thoughts here on Orion for 2020 at Kings Island?
Well, I did like Orion as a choice between those two better as well. It had that kind of hunter theme, which is what I thought they were going for, but they're really sticking with this, Area 72, but you know what they're going for.
They tried to create this little story here of, there's an asteroid coming to Earth. It's going to destroy the Earth. This fits into the end of the world as we know it. And now Orion, the roller coaster, is a simulator to test something to get us to a different planet that's been discovered in the Orion solar system or somewhere around there. So it's this is going to be like a simulator, a test flight. And I guess that kind of fits with like the X-Flight theme, with the Firehawk theme, with the Area 51 theme that's going on here. I guess I like it. I like the name. I like the name from the beginning, Orion, more than Polaris.
And all of a sudden, those posters make a lot more sense now,
Yeah.
About the, how they were talking about the human endurance trials that each one, and it was really more about the place than the ride. Like we were originally thinking, no, it's going to be all the roller coasters, but no. And obviously nothing about hunting, but, it does kind of tie it up nice and neat.
Yeah, and when you, like you said, with all the test runs, and this is going to be the simulator and the test run, if you will, for us to get almost like a disaster transport, like, hey, welcome to Alaska type deal. Kind of like that, I guess, in some respects. The ride itself, a lot of what we kind of suspected, that if you were following along and saw any of the leaked layouts, numerous people have put together different, simulations, no limits, simulations for this coaster, and they were pretty accurate for the most part. So some records. It's going to have a 300-foot drop. No mention of how tall the lift hill is, though we suspect it's under 300 feet. It's going to be 91 miles an hour, which puts it 1 mile less than Leviathan, and 5,300 feet, which is going to make it the shortest of the B&M Gigas, still longer than something like I-305, that's 5,100 feet. So it's not going to be blazing up any records here. They said it's the longest, tallest, fastest coaster, steel coaster at Kings Island, and there was a noticeable sigh in the crowd when they said that. So it was actually kind of funny. The ride itself, the first drop, you go into a somewhat of a wave turn hill, into a modified treble clef turn that, if you kind of like, how Fury turns around, this is much similar to that. It has a Leviathan speed hill on it right after that treble clef turn, into a standard hill, into the helix that looks like it's going to be maybe the most fun element on this. Maybe, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping for maybe the speed hill or that, into another like kind of quasi wave turn that's a lot lower to the ground, into some standard hills, and then it's over, folks. That is the whole ride. Jeff, the layout, we've seen it. What are some of your impressions of the layout?
The helix definitely looked like something that made me most curious, because it looked a little bit tighter than the one on Fury, and it kind of looked a little bit bigger than the ones I'm used to seeing on the Hypers. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe it gives you, if it follows through with a lot of speed, it gives you some good positive G's right at the end for kind of a finale. Nothing about the coaster disappoints me. It's very much what I expected. the people making those predictions, like you said, those no limits and Planet Coaster predictions were shockingly accurate. So I feel like I got reunited with something.
Yeah, this by no means is not going to be a bad roller coaster. This is going to be a really good roller coaster, a great roller coaster. My one concern is I feel like maybe it's something I've ridden before. That you have Fury down at Charlotte. Fury is a ride I love, is my top 5. This seems to take some of those elements. I've always said, Fury with the Leviathan Speed Hill would be amazing. We're kind of getting that here, but we're kind of subtracting all the other things that make Fury great with the length and the extra elements. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, like I said, there's no question in my mind that this is going to be a great roller coaster. The question is it going to separate itself enough from the other B&M hypers, or is it going to feel, I don't know, I use that term with Untamed, like an RMC All-Star coaster. Is it going to feel like that, like it's something you've ridden, but they're adding in some of those elements that you're like, oh, I wish it would have had this, or I wish Leviathan would have had that, or Fury had this. Is it going to add in those elements and make it feel a lot longer than it actually is? Or is it going to feel kind of derivative? And that's my one concern with this roller coaster. The last thing I want to talk about is the logo. And the logo, maybe underwhelming. I think not in Danny and I talk about this all the time too, where you like to have that character, that creature, that character, something to breathe life into this. And so far it's just a name. It's Orion. What were some of your thoughts on the logo itself?
Yeah, just like the theme, the logo didn't go where I thought it was going to go either. Even if they went with space theme, it doesn't really scream that to me either. To me, when I looked at it, it looked like kind of like almost like an embroidered patch that you would see like on, like a jersey.
Yeah, and maybe if they had, because they're doing the whole testing thing, so maybe it is a patch. Maybe you are dead on with that. Maybe it is a patch that's going to be on the uniforms of the ride ops. Are they going to theme this out? That Cedar Fair's kind of pulled back on the heavy theming of the ride ops costumes. We saw it before on other rides. Disaster Transport jumps to mind, where they had a costume that they were wearing on the station. Fury isn't wearing a costume, but they are wearing a unique uniform specific to Fury. So that's interesting. So maybe this Orion thing is going to be like a patch that's on their arm, maybe like a jumpsuit, like a Star Trek Enterprise jumpsuit that has this patch on it with the Orion logo. I don't know, but right now, the only hope I have is a really cool ride sign that might light up at night. That, Kings Island has had some really cool entrances to their rides. The Beast is as much as I don't like the ride, the Beast is a wonderful entrance, sets the tone for the ride. Diamondback has a wonderful ride sign. Banshee has an amazing ride sign, maybe the best ride sign in the history of ride signs. Maybe we're going to have something really cool here that lights up at night, some blue to make that area look really cool.
I mean, they have been doing some cool stuff with sculptures, like the Copperhead Strike sculpture outside the queue was really cool. The whole area around Twisted Timbers, but especially that tree. It wasn't really part of the logo, but like it became like part of the image of the ride, and it made its way onto all the merch.
Yeah.
We won't be able to see merch that looks like, like you said, like a mission patch on something that looks like a jumpsuit shirt, maybe. If people will buy it, I'm sure they'll make a whole jumpsuit. But, maybe that artwork that might be part of the station or part of the entranceway will become like the image that goes onto the merch and that people think of when they look, think about Orion.
Yeah, so hopefully, that's, I think it's going to be, like I said, to recap this, I think it's going to be a really good roller coaster. I'm a little skeptical on, I like the name. I'm a little skeptical on the logo. Hopefully they beef it up with some stuff. It seems like they're going to use a lot of the Firehawk station maybe. Like I said, we haven't received any official renderings yet. We're just going based off of what was done at the announcement, because we don't have an official launch. Oh, here we have. So we now have the official launch on the page.
It's breaking.
So we can see the logo. I'm just looking at this for the very first time. They have all the stuff now posted on the website. So the logo, getting a clearer look at it, it's there. I'm kind of confused because it doesn't have that breath of life into it. It's got some stars in the background. It's got the Orion word mark on it. They're going into the story here with the Area 72. That's what they're calling this new area. The stats, like we said, 3 minutes in length, 3 trains with 8 cars. Nothing really mind-boggling there. The track length 53.21, the height of the first drop 300, the length, what? So the height of the first drop is 300 feet. The length of the first drop is 447 feet. There's no way.
Maybe this is a typo.
Yeah, that maybe. I don't understand. I don't understand the distinction here on the website. The height of the first drop, 300 feet. The length, because it's going into a ravine, is probably going to be longer. But that's not the height of the first drop. That would be the height of the first hill would be 300 feet. And the length of the first drop would be how far it goes down. So I'm confused at the wording here. There's no way it's 447 feet. There's no way. Because that would be a big deal.
Yeah, it just seems like an odd thing to keep track of if they're talking about like how far you're going linearly, like on the x-axis only.
I could believe 347 feet. I would believe that completely, that the first drop might be 347 feet, which is a really good first drop. It's got the height of the hills 287 feet, 174 feet, 202 feet. 56 feet, 147 feet, 125, 90, and 83. Top speed of 91.
Well, I like that those hills are nice and tall, though.
But I'll tell you what else. It doesn't look like, because I'm looking at the full layout, it doesn't look like that first drop goes down much further underneath the hill. Like, it doesn't look like it dives that much into the ravine.
Well, I mean, it's I'm looking at the artwork, and it doesn't really have any kind of frame of reference here to make me see like that the ground is moving much.
Yeah, it does. So I'm confused that there's a typo there, because they obviously have been putting this together. They didn't want it to leak at all. So obviously they got pictures of the train. So it has a tealish color. It has an Orion logo on the front of the train. In a triangle-like thing. It's got a little pink in it, too, it looks like.
Yeah, the clamshells.
The clamshells look like a coralish color, and it looks like even the bottom of the train has, the spoiler on the train has a little pink in it, too.
It's like banshee pink on the edge there.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm looking at this one picture of the first wave turn, and it does drop into the ravine. The question is that 50 feet? And it quite possibly could be, looking at this first wave turn picture. You can see it clearly go down into the ravine, and it could be an extra 50 feet. So if the lift hill is 300, I know a lot of people were complaining that the lift hill wasn't going to be 300, but if the lift hill is 300 and then you drop into this ravine, I think you possibly could get an extra 50 feet off of it. Which makes that a pretty nice first drop. So that's exciting. So there's, after seeing this, there's a few extra things here that get me a little bit more excited, I think, overall.
I don't know. I don't know how to take that number, actually.
It's got to be 347. It's got to be 347. There's no way it's 447. It's got to be 347. Which would be my guess. So
it's acting like it's going to change.
It says riders on Orion will plummet down an exhilarating 301st first drop.
Yeah, I don't think that that anything going below grade is added to that 300. I think that 300 includes the area below grade.
So then what's I don't even know then. Okay, someone else smarter than I will have to figure that one out. Maybe someone else, who knows. So anyway, folks, we're excited here about Kings Island, about Orion. I think it's going to be a great roller coaster, like I said. So hopefully, hopefully it turns out to be a really exhilarating ride and that it holds its speed throughout. Because if it can hold its speed, that'd be really good. It's going to be a really good ride, right, Jeff?
Yeah, maybe I'll see it in the spring. I don't know.
So as always, I am Andrew Barczyk from Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Jeff Goodman from Long Island, New York.
Right on, Ride Warriors.
Good night.